Hey everybody, hey, welcome. It's Sunday afternoon and we are here and it is Sunday Takedown and I am going to be your host for the day, Carlos Estrada on Twitter, CTL77, and I'm joined today by John and Will. How are you guys doing today?
We're here. We're fantastic.
Can I get a little cheer as a little more enthusiasm there?
That's going to be John's job.
Fucking yay.
So,
Sorry. I'm just dealing with a little bit of sciatic nerve pain today, so bear with me, folks. But
Is that your excuse for not watching Raw? Is that your excuse for not watching WWE programming this week?
it could almost, based off what I read results wise this week. I mean, I just I should have just replayed last week's midweek recap and end of the road results. Good hell.
There's like good cliff notes. You could just go off last week's and pretty much wing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I saw was nothing but just pretty much a repeat, but with little tweaks. That's how it felt this week.
Gotcha. So before we get into the WWE programming for the day, I wanted to ask John a quick question. We've been sending out more tweets, asking questions, just trying to get our brand out there, our podcast, and us more visible on Twitter. John, what's been your experience so far, and what surprised you the most from the questions you've asked?
I think a lot of what surprises me is the consistency with the amount of impressions I've been getting with every single question. And the fact that we're starting to see even a lot of new Twitter users, whether they're like brand new or folks I've never interacted with, I'm starting to see a lot of different people come in to answer the questions. And that's been really encouraging because for the longest time, you and I have been on Twitter for a good few years here now. And we seem to always get the engagement from our usual mutuals, but we needed to get outside the box, and I felt like we had a really good start with that. I don't know how you've been seeing it, but that's the part I've been liking so far.
Was there any answers to your questions that surprised you?
Uh, you know, I've done questions here and there before this, and every once in a while you'll get those people that are negative, say, who cares, blah, blah, blah. Those are the ones I usually just love to ignore or block if they really get out of hand. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you'll get a few that you think is going to be the majority answer, but there's been a couple where it kind of reversed on me, and they were answers they were the majority answers I was not quite expecting. So, but it's been a good wake up call. It's been nice to see everyone reacting to, well, not reacting, but reply to those questions.
Nice. My two biggest takeaways so far has been, for one, I always thought like Randy Orton was like John Cena's greatest rival, and then when I asked the question, a lot of people were answering Edge, and I was like, you know what, I got to kind of agree with that. Like we were maybe forced so much to watch Randy and John Cena fight so much, but Edge and Cena really brought the best out of each other. So I thought that was a really cool thing to just kind of sit there and reflect on people's reasons why and interacting with them. And that was a cool part for me. The other thing that I kind of thought was shocking was when I asked, FTR is not available, who's the greatest tag team? And so many people answered the Usos. And I mean, the majority was the Usos pretty much. And I just wonder if it had been a year ago, who they'd say. Because honestly, I was shocked to see that New Day didn't get more love with that question. What are your thoughts about that one?
Well, first off, I have to be careful because I didn't read your question really in great detail answering last
Gotcha.
where I put the Heart Foundation.
Oh yeah, I'm like modern John. Okay,
I had to reread that. Oh, it says
get
modern.
off my lawn, kid.
And it's like, and then there's a couple of people I had to block because they were a little irritating with the way they responded to me on that. But, I was not in a good mood.
Trolls be trolling.
Well, you don't want to get on the cranky guy, especially when he's in pain. But two, it was like, okay, give me a break. I read it wrong. If any of you ever made a mistake, Judas Priest, you don't see us clamming on your ass for it. But no, my take would have been more. There was a couple of teams I've seen in there that one that was mentioned, and that was the Bullet Club Gold. I thought they were a really stellar team facing Cash and Dax the other night in that 2 out of 3 falls at Collision.
Yeah.
But one tag team that I did not get to see mentioned much, and I kind of think it's a crime, is the Lucha Brothers. I mean, to me, the Lucha Brothers have been a really great tag team as long as they've been healthy and not injured. We see them right now as the current Ring of Honor tag team champions, and they've been former AEW World Tag Team champions as well. But I'm sure there's a lot of teams we haven't not quite yet mentioned in there. In fact, let's ask Will, outside FTR, who do you think is the best modern tag team that we're seeing right now?
The Acclaimed.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did that on purpose for Carlos.
No.
And Pop.
You two gonna scissor each other now?
Yeah. Here we go.
Tell you what, if you're gonna watch, sure, let's do it.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh,
We'll keep this for whenever we do the what is it called, the
we need to save that for our Patreon.
yeah, Patreon, exactly. next June. But I was like, so like, yeah, I was just, but to me, like, again, it just kind of, I think the one thing that we got to realize as fans is that we are very subject to what we're fed, because like, again, if it wasn't for the bloodline storyline, I don't think the Usos would be getting so much love as they did. So it's just, to me, it was interesting to see how much this current storylines influence people's decision making. I think it's pretty cool. So, Will, overall, what do you think of the WWE programming this week?
Wow.
What?
I think he covered the microphone in that one word too.
Look, really, the only thing that was interesting about this week with WWE was Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, Santos Escobar, and actually the hold on a second. I actually thought that the AJ versus Butch versus Waller versus Santos was an excellent match. The way they did it was great. Like we talked about before, maybe not the right winner, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah. Also, Chase U versus Gulak and Dempsey. I thought that was great.
On paper, I thought that would look like a killer match. When I read the results,
it was a good match.
Which one? The Fatal 4-Way?
No, Chase U.
Chase U, yeah.
Other than that, the week was really just kind of freaking boring.
So with that, and I agree with like Will, and then John was busy too, but like I just what we're gonna take this direction for this week's show is we're gonna talk about I think NXT was definitely the show of the week. So our first topic is gonna be the Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker match. And what were you guys' just general thoughts on the match? And also my other question to counter that is, do you want to see Ilya take the title off of Carmelo, or do you think it's his time to get a call up? And also Braun for a call up in general. Just kind of where you guys' thoughts are as far as who should maybe get a call up after SummerSlam, and where the NXT title picture should be going after that match.
I mean, I'll start right off the bat. Both of them need to be called up. The match itself was an absolute banger. It went the way I thought it was going to go. I'm absolutely ecstatic with Ilya Dragunov. He's just been impressive since he got on the scene. So those two are ready.
Yeah.
What are your... sorry. I was going to say, I think it's too early to end Carmelo's reign right now as the NXT champion, especially the way they've built him up the last couple of months before he won the championship. I would like to see him have a good, sturdy reign. At least give him 6 months with that championship, before you even consider taking that off of him. I think all three men, though, are worthy to be called up to the main roster.
Ooh, I just had a thought.
Uh-oh.
So when they do finally bring Carmelo up, they should bring Trick and put him with the Street Profits.
And Bobby Lashley too. I think that's exactly where I was thinking of it too. That's exactly where I was aligned.
Well, and I was going to say I did catch SmackDown. The one thing I would say was really interesting was seeing Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits get together. So I'm wondering if we're going to see kind of a newer version of the Hurt Business here. Who knows? What's your
Would
thought?
you guys? Would you, if they were to if they were to get together? Would you accept them just being called the Hurt Business? Would that be an okay name for the faction for you?
I don't know. It's really hard because they tried that before with Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I don't know if that would feel right to them.
I don't know if that would sit well with the fans either.
Gotcha. I'm in agree with you guys as far as I think Carmelo should stay and be the face of NXT, until next year's WrestleMania time, and then call him up right now because I think they have enough to concentrate on with Raw with Grayson Waller. On SmackDown with Grayson Waller and LA Knight, getting those guys pushed, and then I also just think that with Raw, I would like to see JD McDonough get that push more and seeing like the Bronson Reeds and like the Johnny Garganos be getting their just dues before they even add more to the mix. I do agree that I wouldn't mind seeing Ilya Dragunov get called up and Braun Breaker, especially if they're not going to have him get the title anymore. And for me, like the thing that I love reading about just from different post shows and stuff I was listening to, it's just they're giving just Ilya Dragunov so much credit for him calling the match and like that kind of style of wrestler who fights hard and that's the kind of guy that really brings the best out of Braun Breaker as well. So again, I'm in agreement with you guys that I think that they both should be getting called up. And just again, that's the kind of people they need to have Braun fighting with to bring out the best in him until he can be more the guy calling matches in the ring. You guys have any more thoughts on that or anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Right. So with that being said, for the rest of the show, we're going to just kind of go into some fantasy booking and the fantasy booking question, and also just the current state of the WWE product. Because one thing we talked about, was just, especially with, an old thing about Vince McMahon was, it would just always be like rinse, recycle, repeat. And you could just really feel that on the shows this week with SmackDown and Raw. There was a lot of repeat matches, Miz and Ciampa again, Imperium, I think, and, Riddle and those guys all fighting, Chad Gable and, Otis and them fighting, with the, it's just a lot of repeat stuff. And then also on SmackDown, it was just the same. It was a lot of repeat matches as well. And just a lot of the same stuff with just, different little tweaks here and there. I don't know if you guys saw online yesterday, but Eric Young went back to Impact Wrestling, and the reason why he went back to Impact Wrestling is because he doesn't want to work with Vince McMahon. He had asked. He was originally signed to WWE. He asked for his release around WrestleMania time, and he had to wait out his 90 days. And so my question is, what do you guys think of that? And do you guys think that we could be seeing more superstars eventually doing the same thing if Vince doesn't get the clue and he doesn't leave and let Turner be in charge of creative? Start with you, John.
That's funny because Will was pointing at me right as you said that. Because
I had no idea who Eric Young was.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Mr. NXT. Oh my gosh, what the heck? You're gonna lose your black and gold heart.
Hey, I didn't start watching NXT till about a year and a half ago.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I guess there's a little bit of unfairness for Will. Here's my thing. WWE had a rocky couple of years. Me saying that, we have to consider the fact that Vince McMahon was pretty much getting out of the company because of all the sexual allegations. In my opinion, he shouldn't be in there still. He should never been allowed to come back. Something should have stopped him from being allowed to come back. I know shareholders have tried to put a kibosh to it, but we've seen how well that worked. He came in and still found a way to come in and say, nope, I'm still coming back. Tough shit.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't. You said you did that pretty well. Fuck.
I'm picturing Will right now in the corner, like Mankind, all like coddled over. Damn you, Vince.
With that being said, you knew the minute Vince McMahon came back, like you mentioned in episode just shortly after Vince came back, and Tony Khan made that tweet like, "Oh, all of a sudden everyone's being nice to me. All of a sudden, I wonder why." I mean, that should pretty much tell you, as much as hate as there is on Tony Khan for a few things he does with AEW, the one thing I can't really say that many people will gripe about Tony Khan is how he treats his talent on a not so much on the creative note, but as a human. And the way Vince is being regarded by certain talent, and you hear quite a bit of talent who's not working under him right now. They'll never go back to WWE as long as he's in charge. Now,
Yeah.
if there was Hunter in charge, it's a different story. You're seeing the majority of the people who left WWE, I think even including CM Punk will tell you if Hunter was in charge, CM Punk could even probably be the one that would say, well, I don't not really gonna go much further with AEW. I'll go back to WWE. But not to get too far off the topic now, Eric Young, yeah, he requested his release the minute Vince McMahon came back into play and said, I do not want to work with Vince. And I think a lot of talent should have that option. Your if your company went under an ownership change, yeah, I get it. They signed a contract, but at the same time, they should not be forced to work in an environment they do not feel safe in. And that's one thing I think they need to find something a little different with how they work their contract clauses.
You think it'd work out better for them if the talent was unionized?
Well, I think they tried that until Hulk Hogan put the kibosh on it with Jesse Ventura's idea back in the day. Because Vince was pretty much getting rid of almost everybody that was going to try to go into the union.
Yeah.
So, and that's why Jesse Ventura hates Hogan so much in real life. So,
Piece
but
of shit.
Well, you're getting that line out pretty well today. But no, I think Eric Young made a choice that made himself in a better spot. I mean, if you don't want to work for a guy that you see that could be a public nightmare, which Vince McMahon is, I mean, I give him all due respect for taking daddy's business from a territory company all the way to a global wide franchise. But yeah, I love the fact I saw Eric Young go back to where he feels better than to
Back from the dead, apparently, back from the dead because he got killed off.
yeah, then they go back to a place that or stay at a place that he's not going to be happy.
You have anything to add to that, Will?
No, I actually agree 100% with John about that. If it were me, the second I even heard that Vince would be coming back, I would have left. He's run it into the ground, and we're starting to see that again.
And do you guys, and it's like, I have two follow-up questions. I agree with you guys too. Like, I really, like, I almost feel like I want to go buy an Eric Young t-shirt now because like, I just like, I like anybody who has morals and stands up for themselves and they don't put money first. And, they're more worried about their like own mental health. I mean, that's somebody I want to champion, so, I just want to give a quick, kudos to Eric Young for, sticking to his laurels, sticking to what he believes and not chasing the money and, putting his own mental health and happiness above and his own and creative, his own creativity as well, above just collecting a paycheck. So congrats to him. And I'm with you guys too. Like I get my question. So two questions. Do you guys think that Bray Wyatt's really hurt or do you think he's out because Vince is back?
I think it's 50-50 on that one.
I think it's because of Vince.
Gotcha. Good. And again, I at first I thought he's hurt, but I agree with Will. I think it's because of Vince. And so
let's also look at the situation where it's pretty well known that Brock Lesnar didn't want to work with Bray Wyatt either.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's why I say 50-50 because I don't know if it's necessarily all Vince. It could be Bray Wyatt's hurt. I just don't see why the Fiend is changing his Twitter profile picture. Something's just not making sense because everybody's hyped that he's coming back.
Yeah,
but I don't see it anytime soon.
For all we know, he's just being railroaded.
Yeah. So then my other question is, what do you think Tony Khan because what you guys just said about union, do you think he could go start a union with AEW because if they get this $1 billion TV deal, they really don't need the money, you know. So if Tony Khan was to go start a union and unionize his wrestlers, what do you think that would do to the sport of professional wrestling?
I don't know because I'm not really familiar with
I
the rules of unions.
I think it would be good for them as far as the protection, but I think it would close a lot of opportunity and doors for them. And so I love unions, but at the same time, I don't.
Yeah, that to me it can be a real messy situation.
Yeah, I mean they could be guaranteed a job through the union, but
Well,
they may not necessarily end up where they want to end up.
so my question, because this is where I'm a little unfamiliar with unions. I mean, when did this make it to where pretty much talent could be paid the same level no matter what?
It could, and you know, and the other thing too, like it would, because I just thought of that when you said that question too. It could change the pay scale. It would also it could possibly make it to where they couldn't work independent shows either, because if they don't hire only union wrestlers, it could change a lot of different things like that as well.
Which is where I was referring to. There could be a possibility of a lot of doors being closed, which it's problematic.
Gotcha.
But also in a union, you don't necessarily need to be on a contract either, right?
No, they can step aside and actually make demands, and there has to be a response to it.
So, in other words, I don't know if union would be a real wise choice for the talent to go.
What do you think about them just being employees and getting benefits and all that kind of stuff? Do you think
Well,
WD would follow suit?
I think that would be better. In fact,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There was somebody in the legislature that, or maybe he wasn't part of the legislature. He was supposedly going to try to become one of Biden Harris's members of the cabinet and try to take care of companies like this where, you know, you need to quit considering talent as contracted individuals and as full-time employees. So that's another thing you have to look at. I just don't know how they would go as far as a pay scale, whether it's like a set salary plus commission, or because you have to look at those other factors where they make a percentage off of the merchandise sales too.
For sure. Right. So my last question for you guys today, and again, this is a little bit of fancy booking. So I don't know if you guys saw the news. The Screen Actors Guild is on strike. They joined the writers and as far as the strike goes. So my question for you guys is, if John Cena and The Rock are available, would you have an issue with them being put in? Let's put in the main event scene. So let's say you have John Cena going after Rollins for a 17th world title, and then you have The Rock versus Roman. If they, let's say that, because again, I think this is a really unique opportunity for WWE to have these guys back, you know, and maybe, you know, kind of change the narrative. So my question to you guys is, would you guys want these guys back and to kind of be put in storylines with WWE and maybe put other things on hold, or would you rather just see WWE stay course with what they currently have going on? And I'll start with you, Will.
Wow.
He must be seeing us or something.
Yeah, we're dead on over here. He pointed
Nice.
at me.
It's corporate synergy.
Honestly, I'd rather not see it. I mean, it'd be fun as a one-off, but I don't want to see a storyline out of either one of these two.
The only reason I would want to see John Cena come back is to at least win the Intercontinental Championship once, because that is the only championship that is holding them back from the Grand Slam, much like Sheamus. So I don't, if I see John Cena come back, I don't want to see him go for the World Heavyweight Championship. I say leave him tied with Ric Flair at the moment. I would rather see John Cena get that Grand Slam. Now, as far as The Rock is concerned, I don't think we necessarily need him in the title picture, but maybe actually kind of show Roman or humble Roman as far as being a tribal chief, as far as the Samoan family. So
go sit in your chair.
Wow. Could you be a little more bold? Maybe he could manipulate Roman like Roman manipulated Jay. I don't know. But yeah, I think The Rock should be the one. If Jay doesn't get it done at SummerSlam, bring The Rock back temporarily and have him be the one to humble Roman Reigns.
And how would you how would you feel about if let's say like if so how would you feel about if Jey Uso wins the title at SummerSlam and then they have and then Roman leaves for a while, eventually he comes back and so you're gonna get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania not for the title, and then we get Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Unified Universal Pork Chow Mein Chicken Fried Rice Championship. What do you guys think about that?
Wow. Way to degrade that championship.
It's got so many titles to it. They should just call it the WWE title and get it and call it a day.
The only reason I would be for that is because of my long-term opinion of Jay defeating Roman as champion. I would be all for it. But again, you and Ted, the hillbilly, he'll keep muddying the waters with,
Yeah.
can you really invest in Jey Uso being the guy? And my heart always says yes, but my head, because of you two, says no.
Yes.
So, I mean, if booking can get it right, then yes, Jay should be the one to defend that championship at WrestleMania. I just don't see it happening. As far as, well, that was the only question you really asked, right?
Yeah,
well,
about that. So then I have another. So then, as far as do you want to see Ric Flair's record get broken or not? Because I do feel like, for me, like I think John Cena is the man who deserves. I like Randy Orton too, but like I feel like John Cena deserves to do that first. And so, because I think we all know Charlotte's going to eventually beat it, but you don't think John Cena deserves that for all he's done for WWE to come back and be to have the most championships? And you don't think WWE wants to be in house with somebody who's been with them the whole time?
do you want to answer that? You want me to go first?
You go.
I think John Cena would definitely has earned that right to take over as far as the most championships held, world championships held, or won, however you want to look at it. I'll just be the bad guy right now to most of the IWC. Randy Orton is not going to be healthy enough to do it. I'm sorry.
No, he went through the same back surgery that I did. And
Yeah.
I can tell you, it is a long, extremely difficult recovery.
Well, it's actually taken Randy longer to recover from his than you did yours.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get through. As far as my feelings about John Cena, I would say that yes, I would love to see him be the one. I just think they waited too long for that to be an option for him.
Yeah, I think if this was maybe 2 or 3 years earlier,
yeah,
it definitely would have been right, or even had him temporarily win the championship from Roman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unfortunately, that didn't happen. In some ways, I think that was the right decision to not have him dethrone Roman, because we went and see Roman's long title reign now. Sorry, IWC, you're gonna have to just swallow that one. But it's just, yeah, I'm with you. I think they waited just a little too long to give Cena that 17th run. Not saying it's not possible. Anything can happen. We've seen it before. I just don't think it's a wise move now.
Yeah, at this point, I kind of see him just being that guy that's a one-off show every once in a while, and that's about it.
Yeah.
All right, and then I'm like, I still stand by, I still stand with what I was with Ted, to our friend Ted DiBellio. I see Cody as the man, but if they can get The Rock back for WrestleMania, I would be for. It would lose its luster a little bit to have Cody defeat Jay and give him that title reign. But again, I think I would be okay with it, because it does give Jay that reward for all of his character work he's done, and it does give us Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, which I think would be the marquee matchup. So again, it's just fun to fantasy book, and again, I wouldn't be shocked to see this stuff happen. I mean, you got these guys; they won't be doing any kind of acting for a while, because I think the strike's going to go for a while. So I would personally like to see WWE jump on this, and take advantage of it, and if it's only for 6 months or whatever like that, to WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania. And I think the thing with John Cena too is, I think if he once he's in, he's in a position where he's not afraid of getting hurt because he doesn't have to go film something the next day. I do think he would have some more stuff left in the tank as far as what he could give to the fans. Do you guys have anything else you want to discuss from the week that was WWE?
I think we're both shaking our head no.
Okay. So did you guys have a top 5 for the week?
I do.
Go ahead. Go with yours first, Will.
Okay, and I've actually got them in order this week.
Nice.
I like that.
Yay! You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Wow.
Did you just call me old? You're older than me. I'm the youngest one in the group. Okay.
Look at that voice go.
Number 5, Santos Escobar. Number 4, Chase U. Number 3, Braun Breaker. Number 2, Kalani Jordan. And number 1, obviously, is Ilya Dragunov.
Did you have a top 5, John?
No, I mean they would have to be SmackDown. I don't think SmackDown in fairness had top 5s.
Yeah. All right.
No, absolutely not.
So my number 5 was Miz and Ciampa. I really enjoyed their match. Number 4 was Santos Escobar. Number 3 was Judgment Day. Number 2 was Braun Breaker, and then number 1 was Ilya Dragunov. Woo! As well, I realized again, that guy, like he's like the Sheamus of NXT, banger after banger.
He's really he's gold. So
yeah, and that's for me, like, and that's I asked you about the call-ups because he put his time in with NXT UK. The guy deserves to get to the main roster, and I hope it happens within the next 2 months here for him.
I really think he should have gone up at the same time as McDonough did.
I agree. Did you have any in closing? Do you have any shout outs for this week, Will?
I do not.
All right. Go ahead, John. You can take the rest of them, then I'll get whoever you don't get. Go with the shout outs.
Well, okay then. I think Carlos
is Kingmaker trying to pass the buck.
I think he's still holding a grudge from 2 weeks ago. Holy shit.
Maybe he's just tired of waiting for 3 minutes.
Wait a minute. I thought my list was short, but I just want to throw one out there to NWO Machine Invader from Wish, who do the Welcome to the Shiz Show. Austin Boyer, who does the Wrestling World. Also want to give a big one out to Fan of the Van. Is This a Bad Take podcast? The Steel and Teal Talk podcast. Two Dudes Sports News. The 1420 Sports Bar podcast. The Brutally Honest Sports podcast. And want to give a big shout out to our teammates, Heather and Bryan, who were not able to join us today. Hope they are having a good Sunday and being well.
And just second all of Will John's shout outs. Let's try this one more time. And I just want to give a shout out to someone who's really helping our podcast, and that's Sage Up. And then also everyone in the 5150 chat, sports chat. There's a lot of great people on there that have their own podcasts as well, and they do Twitter Spaces. So just be on the look for the Stage Up Neighborhood on Twitter. Just thank you guys very much for all that you do for helping us and helping us grow. It truly is appreciated. And again, we're honored to be affiliated with you guys. With that said, I think that's it for us. Come join us back on Tuesday when we talk about the week that was AEW. Good night and goodbye, guys. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.